From the fabled god seed to the most highly defended mushrooms you've ever seen, these are the rarest Minecraft seeds ever found. This place is so jam-packed with structures that they're eating each other up. This library floor is completely destroyed by these geodes, which luckily didn't break this portal that it's right next to. There's also 2 villages that spawn, and a Badlands gold mine on a cliffside. There's a scenic forest valley, an outpost among ice spikes, a temple between mangroves and bamboo, and a stronghold close below. But if that isn't unique enough for you, how about a seed that spawns illegal objects, like this pig spawner in survival mode? The seed generated a spawner in the same place as a chest, making the game bug out and reverting it to the default pig spawner. It's even crazier that it happened 5 times in this one seed, filling the room with pigs. Whoever built this temple must have worshipped some heavy metal gods, as it's generated right in the middle of a lake of lava, in a beautiful lush cave at the bottom of a massive ravine. It's directly beneath your spawn point too, so you can just jump straight in and find it right away. But what's more metal than this giant skull? This giant skull cave is filled with a lush biome, filled with rare loot. It's at the south end of the island you spawn on, which also has a desert village at your spawn and a mine shaft down below. Check out this oasis of green in the barren, frozen wastes of the tundra. It's a stark little grassy biome that exists surrounded by icy mountains. One of the closest other biomes is a little walk along the X-coordinate to a blooming and beautiful cherry grove. This seed is littered with these beautiful biomes among the snow. But I want more than pretty sights. I want everything! I want the god seed. This fabled seed has every biome and structure in the game within a few thousand blocks. This world lets you pick and choose whatever tree, enemy, or housing location you could ever want. Woodland mansions are one of the rarest and coolest structures in the game, and this one is even cooler. Not only did this mansion spawn in the middle of a swamp, but it's also right next to this crazy dripstone sinkhole. And if that wasn't cool enough, these waterfalls can even spawn axolotls. Talk about luxury. If you like caves and caverns, you'll love this next seed. Imagine loading up a new Minecraft world to play on, and suddenly you spawn here. You're placed right in the middle of this huge open cavern with near infinite dripstone caves to explore. There's even an ancient city deep inside if you're feeling courageous. But you don't have to go too far to make use of this giant cave. Just follow this waterfall down and you'll end up right next to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exposed diamonds. Good luck mining them though. And you can't craft a pickaxe with this whole cave system being underneath a giant desert with no trees in sight for miles. But thankfully, I have creative mode. Wait. Minecraft's tallest ever woodland mansion, which is frankly really funny looking. It generated in an amplified world right at the build height, shaving off 90% of the actual building. There's also these giant cobblestone pillars that go all the way to sea level. The best part is it looks just as wild in a normal world too. And what's crazier is that the guy who found it says that it's actually possible to get an even taller mansion. But hey, size doesn't matter, right? Well, this massive sinkhole thinks otherwise. This glitch terrain holds the world record for the biggest sinkhole ever found. And not only does it go all the way down to lava level with these crazy rock formations and lava falls, but there's even an ocean monument in it as well. And if you're wondering how rare this seed actually is, it's 1 in a trillion. Read the title, you idiot. If giant caves and lava pools aren't your style, try out this seed that has to have one of the prettiest spawn points in the entire game. In the middle of this ring of cold, snow-tipped mountains lies a quiet little village, complete with farms, cats, and baby donkeys. Just next to it, there's even a gorgeous flower forest, as well as pigs, chickens, and caves with iron in them, all contained within this beautiful scenery. But even that doesn't compare to this village, which rests on a grassy plain covered in flowers, right above this huge exposed lush cave. There's even a ruined portal and a bunch of food nearby to get you started in this world. It doesn't get better than this. Isn't that right, Mr. Villager? Meow, wow, 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 wow. No, why would you kill an innocent dog? That's just cruel. Most people don't know that there's actually swamp villagers in Minecraft. They look super cool. But unfortunately, Mojang hasn't added villagers for them to spawn in naturally yet. But this seed says otherwise. Slapped right in the middle of this massive swamp is a tiny plains biome covered almost completely by a village. Doesn't this thing look weird? This house is actually completely in the swamp. So if 2 villagers were to procreate, they'd make a little cute swamp villager. Aww. It's too bad we don't have any dwarven villagers though, because they'd fit so perfectly in this seed. A ravine spawned right in the middle of this village, causing some of the houses to be placed underground in the caves. Check it out. There's even a farm down here. Ah, and some cave kitties too. Aww. And this iron golem is on full-time guard down here. There's zombies everywhere. Here, I'll help you. Anyone remember that survival island seed from years ago? Just me? God, I'm getting old. But anyway, this one blows that right out of the water. Not only does this tiny island have everything you need to get started, including a village, but also an ocean monument, an ancient city, as well as a mine shaft and stronghold inside the ancient city. And if you do eventually fancy a vacation away, the closest other landmass is a mushroom island. For a more hardcore survival island experience, try this evil-looking seed. There's no helpful villagers or convenient trees to help you out here. Just some lava, obsidian, and a couple apples to help you on your journey. If you can figure out where you're even going. Watch and learn. See? I did it! Ah! It's strange enough to see a shipwreck on land, but what the hell has happened here? Not only is there a weird land boat next to this rare mangrove swamp, but there's a temple next to it that's inside of a pillager outpost that also has a ruined portal within it that's also been taken over by part of a village. We still don't know why sinkholes spawn in Minecraft. So that only makes ones like this look even cooler. And it doesn't just look awesome from the outside and contain these really weird flat chunks of stone. But there's also a giant and beautiful lush cave down here. Oh, and obviously there's an ancient city right below, because why wouldn't there be? Now a giant illegal hole in the middle of nowhere is pretty cool, but a massive square tower of water is even better. This is what some people call an aquifer, and there's another strange type of terrain that we think generates when a structure like this village spawns in the middle of a sinkhole, and stretches from build limit all the way down to this crazy cavern down at deep slate lava level. I'm sure these villagers could tell some stories. Everybody is excited for the new 1.20 update of Minecraft, but look at this new cherry grove biome. The only thing missing is for villagers like this one to spawn naturally in them. Somehow, a tiny area of plain spawned in the middle and generated a super peaceful mountaintop cherry village that I think would be awesome to try and convert into a cool Japanese-style village. Still, this underground village is nothing compared to the huge ancient cities that were added in the 1.19 update. Just one of these things can span for miles underground, and they feel even cooler when you have to sneak around wardens. But this seed has something even crazier. An underground mega city? That's right, in just this one deep dark biome, there are 15 ancient cities that span over thousands of blocks. Check out the build of this seed. Each one of these lanterns is one city, and there's tons of them. Ancient cities are usually super hard to find though, as they're already extremely rare, and it's even harder to find them when they're so far underground. But this other seed solves that problem. All you've got to do is walk a few blocks from your spawn, dig straight down, and you're there. Ta-da! Oh crap, I didn't bring any tools. I guess I'm stuck down here now. That's cool. Oh, Anyone else remember when zombies and skeleton spawners were the best way to build experience farms?
I sure do.
Shut up, Grandma! Well, this is 3 mob spawners super close together. Something with a 1 in 4 million chance of happening.
I'm never leaving this world again.
Everyone's favorite biome has got to be the mushroom island, but they can be extremely hard to find. The only problem is if you do find one, mobs can't spawn there. That is, if you exclude mushrooms. Oh yeah, baby. This is all we need. Well, luckily, this seed spawns you into a mushroom's lover's paradise, with 4 huge mushroom islands surrounding you. You're welcome. Mushroom islands can only spawn in oceans, but have you ever seen an ocean spawn in the middle of a forest? This seed looks normal when you first spawn in, but if you look over this hill, you'll find an absolutely huge ice lake. And let me tell you, it's not one you want to fall into. If you break just a single ice block, you'll end up sinking down 100 blocks to this huge obsidian floor, covered in rocks filled with exposed diamonds. But you'll probably want to bring a water-breathing potion or something. I don't think you get him back out of here alive, just saying. What's craziest is that this seed looks even more broken in 1.19.2. Here is a gigantic sinkhole right in the middle of the lake, with a massive lava pool at the bottom. It's like somebody went into World Edit and punched the terrain down 100 blocks. And this isn't the only one of these either. A user on Reddit has found a bunch of these, including this wild sinkhole with a woodland mansion directly in the middle of it. These seeds are so new and crazy that we still don't even know why they generate. All we know is that it's something to do with the code and how apparently in certain places, the values for what can spawn and where are totally messed up, causing this insanity to happen. But for a cherry grove biome that just feels kind of wrong, check out this one that feels like it must be breaking some sort of rule. Not only does this seed spawn you inside this super rare biome, but it's also completely surrounded in these crazy ice-covered mountains. There's almost one of almost every single animal right next to spawn, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 different wood types all contained in this little enclave. And yes, obviously there's an ancient city below. Why wouldn't there be? Looking for a stronghold with an Eye of Ender is something we can all—
Ah! Wait, why is it doing that?
That's right, this seed is not one, but two, but three separate strongholds all underneath this one village. All three of them have merged into one mega stronghold, each with its own portal. And there's even a huge mineshaft network that spreads through and around it. Not only does this seed spawn you in on this crazy jungle-covered cliff with wild rock formations, but behind you there's also an insane village that spawned on the side of a crumbling mountain with floating rocks and a shipwreck with emeralds in right next to it. There's even this huge lush cave right next to it with— No, don't tell me. Oh, thank God. If you're brave enough to delve deep into one of the ancient cities, you're usually awarded with some enchantments, gear, and maybe even some music discs. But all of that is comparatively terrible compared to the best chest in Minecraft. Check it out. 4 enchanted golden apples in one chest. The chances of this are actually over 1 in 20,000, which means you'd have to search thousands of ancient cities before you ever see this again.
And nobody ain't got time for that.
But compared to this next seed, 1 in 20,000 seems like a coin flip. Before heading to the end, most people bring 12 or more Eyes of Ender to complete the portal. But did you know that each individual portal block has a 10% chance to already be filled? And now I know exactly what you're thinking. And you're right, that means portals can spawn in with none. Loser. But they can also be spawned with 12 eyes, just like this one. However, it is insanely rare. 1 in a trillion to be exact. That's a million millions. Ugh, my brain can't even handle that number. Woodland mansions are super rare in any normal world. I don't even remember the last time I found one naturally. That's what makes this seed with a giant dark forest truly mind-blowing. If you stand on this block with max render distance, you can see 4 woodland mansions at once. Looting them gives you 2 notch apples, as well as presumably infinite totems of undying. And sure, numbers are cool, but it's size that really matters.
It is?
Anyway, check out this gigantic woodland mansion. Because it spawned on this huge windswept forest hill, half of it is suspended over the side of a massive cliff, which caused it to generate on a huge chunk of pure cobblestone. My favorite part about it is that you actually spawn on top of it too. Good luck getting down though. These worlds don't necessarily look that impressive though, at least not compared to this breathtaking Badlands lake. It generated at the bottom of this huge valley thing next to a mineshaft and a ruined portal. And from high up, it kind of looks like a giant eye. I'd love to see what people could build in here. And even that doesn't compare to this stunning meadow-covered mountain range with 2 lakes nestled inside. Not only do these provide incredible locations for bases, but the smaller one holds a village, while the larger has an outpost. I love the idea that this mountain ridge is the location for some sort of battle between the pillagers and villagers. Let's face it, the villagers are just gonna sit there defenseless and get steamrolled sooner or later. And speaking of pillagers, this seed gives you a weird opportunity to roleplay as one of their prisoners, as you spawn directly inside one of their cages. The real challenge isn't escaping the cage though, it's the mental anguish caused by Minecraft's blatant attempt to call you a monster. Spawning in powder snow might not be the most friendly introduction to a world, but if you can manage to escape it quick enough in this seed, you'll be greeted with the most beautiful forest landscape you've ever seen. Here you spawn next to 2 of almost every animal you need, as well as a beautiful lake, tons of super pretty waterfalls, and a flower forest, all of which is surrounded by these gigantic snowy peaks that keep everything sheltered from the world outside. Oh, and there's goats. Can't forget the goat. Talking about end frames, some seeds have something a little bit more common, but just as weird. Instead of all the frames being filled, only a few of them will be, but the portal will still be lit. This one has just 9 eyes and a full portal, but you can get portals with only 2 eyes which still work. It's some glitchy mechanics with chunk borders that make this work. When you load the world, the game checks 1 chunk at a time for a finished portal, and if it thinks one part of the frame is complete, it'll spawn the portal before it even looks at the rest. I don't even know what I just said. Cool. But let's head back above ground for a second to look at some crazy world generation. Mojang recently changed how terrain is made to make it seem more realistic, but when you look at this seed, it feels as though they completely messed it up. I promise you, I'm not in an amplified world. This is just how it looks around here. Complete with crazy cliff faces, floating islands, and awesome overhangs, this area has it all. It even has a lava stream burning all the plants near it to the ground. I'll admit, it does look cool when it breaks the bamboo though. Sorry, pandas. But this next one takes the cake for my favorite seed in Minecraft. Take a look at this. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. It looks like some sort of crazy asteroid belt, or maybe the ring surrounding a planet. I guess because this is a stony peaks biome in the middle of an ocean, the game tried to make huge mountains and rocks, but it glitched out in a major way. I could totally imagine someone building a mysterious orb or machine that's supposed to make all of these rocks and precious minerals float in the air like this. I'll do it myself, but building isn't really my strong suit. Did you know villagers have a special swamp skin that we almost never get to see? Me neither, but this seed changes that. Amongst this awesome mangrove swamp lies a hidden, overgrown village, complete with our favorite purple companions. There's mangrove roots everywhere, but all I want to know is what a mangrove swamp villager would look like. Man looking fresh. Check out this sinkhole that spawned in the middle of a giant lake. This one actually spawned directly in the middle of the world and goes all the way down to lava level with these huge waterfalls, rock formations, and even some cave trees at the bottom. It even has a massive lava lake at the bottom, which is great for chucking dogs into. You know what? No, dogs are good. I now like dogs. From now on, I'm nice to dogs. We've had mansions on top of hills and even half-invisible mansions, but what about this one that spawns submerged inside a hill with a massive dripstone cave in it? There's even a bravely positioned village house right next to the mansion that's separate from the rest of the village up on top of the hill with views of beautiful meadows and roofed forests all around it. These mansions can contain all sorts of treasure from notch apples to diamonds, but nothing compares to this mansion near spawn that contains over 40 allays trapped in cages that you can free and use for your very own farm, or a cult to take over the Chinese government. It's up to you, I don't judge. Now, you're gonna have to trust me when I say that Mojang really did update the world generation recently, because worlds like this one make me question it myself. This seed spawns you right in the middle of the ocean, with no land anywhere to be seen. How does that even happen? The best part about this seed is that there's also tons of dangerous structures nearby, like a drowned ruin here, and even an ocean temple right next to spawn over there. I mean, I can't even make a sword to fight these things off. But apparently it's not just players that can spawn floating above the water, because this seed has a woodland mansion doing exactly the same thing. This tiny island next to it is the only piece of land for miles around, and the F3 screen says it's still part of the ocean biome. The wildest part of this is that the game says this mansion actually spawned at the coordinates 0, 0, right in the center of the map. And these coordinates aren't even a dark oak forest. If I had to guess, the generation glitched out and thought there was just one block in a dark oak biome, but that would be crazy lucky. But if a floating mansion is too boring for you, how about a mansion buried underground? And if that's still not enough, why not put a village on top of it too? This seed is truly one in a million. There's houses inside roofs, roofs inside houses, and even a house just hanging out on its own in the middle of the mansion. But my favorite part is to be these random sprinkles of grass and huge blocks of stone in the roof of the mansion. I wonder what would happen if you started a raid here. Spawning right next to a village is great, allowing you to loot up, get food, and set yourself up for the nether. But with this seed, that's not exactly the case. Here, you spawn right next to an abandoned zombie village. Sure, there's a couple of hay bales, but don't try going in any of the houses. Around any corner could be a zombie just waiting to... Ah! Gosh! I should have seen that coming. The only thing I can think of that's scarier than a giant looming mansion has to be a super tall desert temple of doom. This one spawns in on the edge of this giant mountain edge, creating this super long block of sandstone underneath. This contains not only the treasure room, but also the new 1.20 archaeology room, where you're not only likely to find diamonds, but possibly even eggs for the new sniffer mob that are just so cute. The beta version of the game had this super weird bug that completely broke the terrain far away from spawn. In fact, the terrain was so messed up that people spent literally years trying to walk to them in survival. In 2023 though, it's so much easier thanks to this seed with cliffs that gives an equally cool effect. Unfortunately, the caves don't stretch all the way through, but it is complete with lone trees, strange cubic corners, and floating chunks of land all over the place. For some reason, my favorite structure, the jungle temple, doesn't get much love in these crazy seeds. And even in the one I did find, half of it isn't even there! Somehow, a ruined portal spawned right in the middle of it and completely deleted half of the structure. And yes, that includes both of the chests. And the worst thing, the ruined portal didn't even spawn with one either. When you spawn into this seed, you might be tempted to check out the beautiful coral reef in the ocean right next to you. But as soon as you turn around, you'll be met with the truly gigantic Badlands mountain range. This Badlands stretches from sea level to far above the clouds. The rocky parts high up are covered in iron and emeralds, and there's masses of long, winding caves that stretch for miles underneath the huge pile of terracotta and stone up top. And we're not even talking about the crazy spiky rock formations found all over this area, and the truly massive cliffs that open up to reveal caves with mine shafts, lakes, and even an ancient city below. So if you're looking for a seed to explore, this is your best bet. But let's talk about a different kind of seed for a moment. Speedrunning is a crazy way of playing Minecraft where you simply just try and beat the game as fast as possible. And if you want the cheat code, we got you. This current seed spawns spawned you in a village with beds for the dragon, chests with obsidian, a ruined portal giving you everything to light the nether portal in minutes. But once you're in the nether, you don't need to stop for blazes or endermen, because the end portal in the stronghold is one of the 1 in a trillion glitched ones I mentioned earlier, and lets you enter as soon as you're back in the overworld, making this seed even rarer than 1 in a trillion. It's literally the best seed in the world. But the most popular form of Minecraft speedrunning doesn't let you pick the seed. You have to make a random world every single time. This means that if you even want a chance at the world record, you need to get lucky enough to have everything you need to beat the game nearby. And that's exactly what Duke did in his current world record. Duke spawned into this 1 in a million seed totally random. You spawn near a buried treasure with all the valuable items you needed for tools, as well as an underwater lava pool to make a portal with. In the nether was a bastion you can use to trade with piglins, as well as a nether fortress super close with a blaze spawner in it. Finally, the stronghold he got had a super easy route to the end portal, which saved him a ton of time. From there, he used the wool he got from trading with piglins to make beds and killed the ender dragon in literally record time. Fancy a donut? How about this enormous donut island that has a naturally formed inner circle? It even has a little frosting on it with multiple biomes appearing on the surface, giving you plenty of resources to set up your new donut mansion. Speaking of donuts, this beautiful little island has its own single circular mountain range with an idyllic meadow in the center, and on either side of it are 2 villages. There's a pillager outpost too. But the most important aspect is 2 ancient cities right near each other under this idyllic island filled with treasures. Ravines and canyons can be stunning, so why not enjoy an island that is riddled with them? Cave systems, thin and towering mountains, chasms as far as the eye can see. This island is riddled with little nooks and crannies to find yourself lost in. Big carved out mountains only get better as this list goes on. Behold a landscape that looks like it's been ravaged by high winds, eroding the rock to create magnificent caves that run all the way through the mountains. It all sits next to the ocean, creating towering beaches of sand and massive ice spikes that some people on Reddit are calling a world record height. And above it all, keeping watch over the landscape, a small, lonely village. However, one little village isn't enough protection for those rare mushroom cows. Witness the monumental mushrooms! This tiny mushroom island is generated right in the middle of 4 fully featured ocean monuments. The cows there are probably the safest in the world, as anyone getting near will be attacked by giant fish. You've just found a beautiful little island with a village all to yourself, but now your little brother wants to play with you? Well, he can have this extra little island off to the side. It's got a smaller village and everything. It's basically the same, right? Don't let them near your new pet project though. This formation is just brimming with possibility, with this giant mountain overhang with ice spikes reaching down to the frozen ocean. With a few modifications, this could easily be the head of a great and ancient dragon that died and froze long ago, and is only revealed now that the ice caps are melting. Nothing too unusual here in this desert biome. Some villages, a temple, some islands. That is until you zoom all the way out. Welcome to Australia. The spiders are huge, the locals are drunk, and the cats are out of control. Watch out for the wildfires, yeah? Oh god, I'm burning! Subscribe!